You talked about that great check, that Christmas gift, the best thing. How much was that check? Just out of curiosity. I think I
Yeah,
remember, but
I think it was maybe 25, $26,000. It was at least 25, maybe a little closer to 26,000.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Annuity Fundamentals. I am your host, Kylie Malat, joined by the one and only co-host, Mr. Ryan Anderson. And today we have a very special guest, and I'm excited for this interview. He is actually the first. He is a member of the family of Annuity Fundamentals, the Mr. Neal Sherwood. So thank you so much, Neal, for joining us. We're happy to have you.
Glad to be here.
now, Neal, we've been working with you since I think about August or so, maybe September. We met at one of the training events we held in Chicago with, I believe, your IMO was Advisors Ignite USA. Wonderful organization to work with. You're the owner of Sherwood Financial, been in the Medicare space for about 5 years, and wanted more. You wanted to branch out. You've heard about this amazing thing called annuities. How do I get into that space? You realize that, hey, I might need some additional help to do that. So Advisors Ignite came through and they worked with Annuity Fundamentals and had us flew us all out there, put on this wonderful 3-day event, and where we were able to work with you and train you all day. And from that, you basically kind of took advantage of all the different opportunities that were available with us. And I came out and spent a week with you, and we kind of had a couple of events at the local senior center. I think we ended up closing close to $1 million in annuity business from those two events over the next few months, which was your first really getting your feet wet into the annuity space and kind of go from there. But give us a little bit of background here. Tell us how you got started with, or what made you decide to go see us in Chicago, and then kind of the experience you had starting out with this.
Well, I don't mean to correct the great Ryan Anderson, but I actually did not fly out to Chicago. I did it through Zoom. I did get an
Okay.
initial email from Advisor Ignite mentioning about this class for people that were doing Medicare but would like to get into annuities. And I thought, well, this sounds interesting. So I went through the process and got into the class. It was tremendous. Kylie is a great teacher, Ryan as well. Basically, it was perfect for someone like me who did have very little knowledge or experience with annuities at all. And so it tied in well with what I was doing with Medicare. And they took me from step one right through the end of the class and learned a lot from that. And then it was very practical. And then near the end of the class, they mentioned that they were available to do joint work through seminars. And I thought, well, there's no way he's going to come out to Virginia and work with me out here, someone that's a complete novice. And so I reached out to them and surprisingly said, oh, yeah, I go all over the country. I'll be glad to do it. And so we did. We set up some seminars at a local senior center in Charlottesville, had a very good turnout. Ryan did some training with me again before the seminars, but I was not comfortable getting up there and doing a seminar. It was an annuity slash Social Security seminar. Didn't have any experience with that, but he came in and just did a tremendous job presenting the material. And then we were able to get some appointments from that. And then, of course, the great training kicks in where they teach you to do the fact finder, which is step one, which I was able to do, follow the directions for that. And then the second meeting, I was able to bring Ryan in by Zoom and to help explain the process of annuities. And he has a great process to do it. Tremendous people skills. I mean, our first client was challenging, to say the least. A single lady, a widow. Really, I would have given up on this. Thought there's no way we're going to do anything with this person. He hung in there. He says, "No, Neal, we're gonna get this case." And he's just his people skills are like off the chart. I've never seen anyone that could handle these situations as well. And because I learned from it, consider him a mentor and learned everything on every phone call that I was with Ryan on it. And we ended up closing that deal. We had another wonderful couple. Perfect, really, situation. They had a very large 401k, and they're probably 5 years away from retirement. Just a perfect scenario. And again, they had a lot of questions that I wouldn't have been able to answer. So that one took a little bit longer, several meetings, because it was a very big account, large account, and Ryan handled everything. So with such great expertise, and we were able to close that right before and get paid right before the holidays. As I told Ryan, that was probably the best Christmas gift I'd ever received when I got that check that came into my my account, that amount, and I was just so pleased to do this, and I want to continue it into 2025. We've already scheduled a couple other times that we're doing it, and but it's perfect for me. I do not have the skills or the knowledge, and the fact that they allow us to do joint work together with Ryan. I couldn't think of anyone better to work with, personality wise, and just his skill, his knowledge, but his skills with working with people on these cases is just off the charts. I mean, I can't imagine anyone better than how he handles clients like this. So I learned a lot, and very pleased from the results that we had. So couldn't be happier.
Yeah, that's so exciting. Neal, I couldn't be more happy for you. And I'm sure people are listening to this and saying, "Oh my gosh, okay, so I take this 6-week course and then there's opportunity that Ryan or Kylie can come out and do a workshop with me." I mean, that's huge, especially was that your first time ever doing a workshop outside of Medicare?
Yes. No, I had no experience. Like I said, I came into the class with Medicare knowledge only, basically, because had taken a couple of classes for annuities. I mean, the CE credits and everything had done that, but it was a perfect fit. I mean, they advertised it for people like me that had Medicare experience but wanted to broaden out into annuities, and it was perfect. It was a perfect class, learned a lot. And then to get to follow it up by putting it into practice with the joint work was very good. Excellent fit for me.
Well, Neal, I got to tell you, thank you for your very, very kind words. Now, we're going to get into a couple different things here. You talked about that great check, that Christmas gift, the best thing. How much was that check? Just out of curiosity. I think I
Yeah,
remember, but
I think it was maybe $26,000. It was at least 25, maybe a little closer to 26,000. And yeah, I mean, first of all, I didn't expect that amount. I think you had told me maybe 20, and then it came up and it showed up, what, 2 weeks, somewhere in December. And I looked there. I remember I called you, right. I left a message to you and say,
it's like, did I get too much? I remember that.
thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that gift so much. And I think you called me later that day, and I was just couldn't have been happier. I mean, because doing Medicare, I mean, it's a slow process. I mean, I love I'm starting to get the renewals from that. And of course, I want to continue with that because, that's an ongoing thing. And but the fact that you can get a big a big amount like that. Now it's not like Medicare, like Ryan tried to teach me. He says, Medicare is sort of transactional, which I agree. You kind of go in, you do your thing, you get a client, and basically that's it. This is a process, which I didn't understand at first, but he says, Ryan, just trust me. This is a process. There's no magic formula here. I thought there was, Ryan had some magic formula that he waved his wand and bang, we got these clients. But he has a process that he uses, and you just follow that process, and he walks it through. And of course, his skills are tremendous working with these different personalities, different situations, different clients. So yes.
Let's go ahead and jump into that for a second here. And I want to kind of outline that process that we talked about. Now, one of the things about it is that you worked with one of the IMOs that we work with at Annuity Fundamentals work with, and that's Advisors Ignite. And they're a wonderful organization. It's one of several that we do work with. And the thing about it is that they came down, and we've got live events throughout the country. We've got the online kickoff events. So we've got a lot of opportunities for us to get to know you. And the first thing that you did is you joined one of our 6-week classes. And these are a no-cost class that we offer to the folks that we work with. And we cover the key 3, and that is how to properly introduce yourself, how to do the fact finder, and how to identify the annuity opportunities and tee them up, which may not sound like a lot, but it is a significant amount when we're trying to shift people's mindsets. And then from there is and that's all that is in the 6-week class, to just be able to identify the opportunities. And At the end of that class, you don't know how to go through and sell an annuity. You don't know how to do the paperwork, how to do the firelight, how to do the make sure that we've got the case design to get the compliance piece right, and then on all the other little pieces to it. And that's where the sales process really comes in. And that's where the being able to listen to your client, identify the right solution for them, and then be able to show how it will enhance their life and it'll solve the problems in their lives. But Kylie has brought up on many, many occasions that, she says this throughout the class, that if you go through this 6 week class and you never call us again, you're going to fail. Simply because that is the first step in this system, that we offer something that a lot of folks don't really know that is available to them, and that is true mentorship. That we started out as Medicare agents, both of us. And that's where we cut our teeth. And I was privileged to have a couple of amazing mentors that really helped me go through the business. One of them was James Case. Another one was the Doug McDermott, who is, I mean, talk about having a mentor. I mean, this guy, he's a legend in the industry. And I just happened to be lucky enough for our paths to cross and him to see a spark in me that he's like, oh, I can might be able to work with some of that raw material over there. And he worked with me one on one for years to be able to get to where you could actually go through. And some of these things are almost second nature now. But one of the things that I really like about our process and our system is we train agents for where they are. If you are like yourself, Neal, where you are brand new in the space, you are a successful Medicare agent, but you are leaving literally thousands of dollars on the table by working, not knowing how to transition into annuities from your existing lead sources and your existing clients, we help you there. If you are a annuity producer and you did $1 million last year and you'd like to do 3 million or 5 million this year, we help you there. And it's really about the systems and the processes that if you can consistently go through and do it. Now, one of the things about this is that how has being able to see the opportunities with annuities just through those workshops, how has that impacted the rest of your business? Are you using your company introduction like you're supposed to be regularly? Are you using your fact finders with your Medicare clients and seeing an annuity opportunities there?
Yeah, a lot of my clients are dual special needs clients. So that's the FMO that I got started with. They offered me these free leads for that. So that is the majority of my business. And of course, excuse me, these are people that have Medicare and Medicaid. So they're not prime examples of annuity clients. But Ryan has reminded me that you do need to use the fact finder process, and I'm trying to learn to do that better. Not perfect yet, but that's why I do want to continue to do the seminar work through Annuity Fundamentals. I think that's a good fit for me to continue to do that and learn and grow through that process as a way of getting clients as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Neal. I think a lot of Medicare agents are where you're at. I know when I do my exploratory phone calls and we get into the 6 week course and then we do some one-on-one training here and there. One of my first questions is, okay, first off, how many people are you seeing, Medicare clients, and who are they? Because you're right. If you're doing D-SNP, and those people need help, there's no doubt about it. You have a servant's heart and you're doing what's right. But that also negates some opportunity. And so it's important if that is you, if you are a Medicare agent and that's kind of your niche and you're really helping those D-SNP and that low income, kudos to you, first off. But if you're wanting to introduce annuities, that's not going to be your avenue. So Neal took the bull by the horns right there and said, okay, what I'm doing isn't going to create an annuity opportunity, so I'm going to create one for myself via a workshop. So I think having that in mind and saying what I'm doing now is working for my Medicare, but it's not going to work for my annuity business. And if I do want to get into the annuities, I need to see the people who have assets so that I am an asset protector and I can help them from health to wealth. And so I appreciate you saying, you know what, my Medicare people aren't really the ones who are giving me that opportunity, but it is the workshop. Like Ryan said, we both started in Medicare. So that's where I got majority of my clients. I didn't start workshops until 2 or 3 years into the business, so all of my annuity production came from my Medicare clients. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, I don't see DSNP, but do I have to do a workshop? No, but is a workshop a really beautiful way to get in front of 20, 30, 40 people at one time and present them with education, right? It's that hour is so vital. And Ryan does a phenomenal job. He's a great presenter. He's been doing it for a minute or two, but he can get up there and really communicate a point that people in retirement need to hear and they want to. And so that's the big draw with workshops. So I'm really glad you had that foresight to say, you know what, I want to get in front of people and I want to get in front of the right people. And doing a workshop is the first step in getting the right people in one room. I remember starting these with Ryan, and it was an exciting process. Definitely, there was a learning curve. So we do jump all the mistakes that Ryan and I made, so that you don't make the same ones, right? So yeah, I think that was a great opportunity for Ryan to come out there. And I know earlier you said I'm not good at this or I'm not good at that, but the word I want you to listen to is yet. All right, it just takes some practice. I was where you are, feeling super intimidated, and then getting in the room and watching Ryan work, right? And it was like, okay, that's how you pivot. That's how you answer a question, and just really watching him. You don't get that in the 6 week training. It really does take that mentorship, and Ryan and I do provide that. And like he said, I do tell the class, guys, this isn't the end all be all. This is just we're dipping our toe into the deep end. Now we need to jump in. And so congratulations, Neal. That's insane that you did. You did jump in, and a $26,000 check. Are you kidding me? Are you
Nice.
kidding me? Like, let's go. That's so exciting. I remember my check that was that big that first time and thinking, "Oh yeah, I think I could do this a time or two." And it really does. It fires you up. Because yeah, did that help you and your family? 100%. But what you and Ryan did that help that client and their family? 100%. So what a good
Right.
feeling that us as agents, we do go into these homes and we see where we can help. And that's where the fact finder comes in. And that's why it's so important. And we do everything by systems. Everything has a system. Ryan has done this 900 times, the same way each time, because he has a system. And that's why I said you're not good now, but you will be. It's just not yet. And it's just following those systems and getting more and more comfortable and getting more comfortable in the space, right? Now, I'm sure when you started, just like everybody else, when you started talking Medicare, it was I can remember my first 10 Medicare appointments. My gosh, I wish I could go back and apologize. I was horrible. I was horrible. Right? I wish I could go back and redo the appointment because you're fresh and you're learning as you're teaching. And the same is with annuity education. It really is. That first couple, it's so nice to have a mentor in the room with you to help you facilitate the conversation, and then you can pick up language or bits and pieces. So kudos to you, Neal, for taking the opportunity to have Ryan come out, do the workshop, and look where you were 6 months ago to where you are now.
When you go through this process with a client, you're building a relationship. It comes back to sort of the difference between the transactional point of it. But I realized, especially with this second case, a very large case, that by the time you go through this process, and of course he has this wonderful gift that he presents to these clients at the end, that you really get to know them and become, I'm not saying part of their family per se, but it's really a relationship building process as well that was sort of new to me, and learning process there too. But you just develop a real close kind of relationship with these people. I see that. So that's important. Yeah.
One of the things about it is that's really amazing. And again, I've been blessed to have some really good mentors. That this is stuff that people taught me, and be able to go through and to share it with others. That you've got to have, and it's foundational. You've got to have a servant's heart. You've got to be consistent. These steps work every time, and therefore you do them every time. And but the thing about it is that where we come back, and I was talking about a few minutes ago, where we help agents where they are, that there are a lot of agents that you hear this is like, okay, so I need to do a seminar. No, you don't. We can go through that. I'm actually sitting down with some other agents. He is down in Utah. I'm heading down there. He's got a large book of business that these are advantage plans and med subs, and that's all he is to them is their Medicare guy. And his book's a little bit different than yours, where it's not all these snips. And I was like, dude, no, we don't want to start with seminars with you. Why would we want to spend all that money? Let's start where the low hanging fruit is. Let's start where you are. You've got a book of business here. And if I ask him and I said there, so introduce yourself to me. I'm a T65 brand new client. Come in and show me how you introduce. He's like, well, hi, my name's Ryan. I'm the new Medicare guy. I want to help you with blah, 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 blah. And you immediately paint yourself into the corner as the Medicare guy. And I said, so that's all they think of you as. However, this year, when AEP is over, when OEP is over, when all of that stuff's done, you've got the summer, which is generally a lull in the Medicare business, and you've got your ramp up time with AHIP and all that stuff. Let's go ahead and starting this March, April, I want you to go back and visit every single one of your clients and go back in there. And this is the process I want you to take. I want you to take this fact finder, and which is, we're client intake sheet basically. Go in there and ask them all these questions. And I want you to properly introduce yourself this time as an asset protector, somebody who helps them with not just their Medicare, but with their health to wealth and everything in between. If you do life, if you do indemnities, we're going to show you how to go ahead and introduce yourself to do that, and let them know you need to update their records. And while you're doing that, you're going to have a tremendous amount of opportunity. You're going to find opportunities for annuities. You're going to find opportunities for estate planning, for large life insurance policies, for debt elimination, for mortgage protection, for whatever it is your other solutions are. And not everybody offers everything I just talked about, but the agents we do work with do that. And as you're going through there and you have those successes with people you already know, it's going to really elevate your whole business so that you're going to see those opportunities with new clients. And then once you take the next year and you work through that book of business, it's like, okay, now how do I go through and bring in other people that like yourself? One of the things reason we pivoted immediately to the seminars for you was because you had this big DSNP base. We needed to get folks that have more assets. So that's why we chose the seminars in the communities in the areas we did. And it worked immediately. And I think we're recording this in January. I think I'm coming out there spending a week with you in March. And the nice thing about that is, and I've got in between now that I think I'm going to Arkansas, Nebraska, someplace in Idaho, someplace in Utah, Dallas. I mean, I think I was in Boston last year for a week or so. And the thing about it is that all of the agents who consistently apply the things we teach are successful. And I can think of a couple of agents last year that weren't as successful as you with this. And the thing that they both had in common was they were not humble and teachable. They would not apply the principles we're teaching. It's like, no, I like to do it this way. And I told them that way doesn't work. Well, how do you know that? Well, why are you in my class? You're here because you want something more. And I'm telling you, that's the problem right there. No, I'm really comfortable with it. This is what I like. Do what you want, but it's not going to work. And what do you know? It didn't work. And so the fact that you brought yourself to the table with a level of humility to, I want to learn, and that piece to it. And then we really massaged it. We went through and we found stuff that worked for you in your situation that may not work for somebody else. So that's really part of the process. And I got to tell you how grateful I was for your willingness to learn and willingness to really work and dig in and do your homework. And I think, every time we do something, it's like, hey, send that to me. I want to learn that. Send it to me. I want to learn that. And, but it's been a joy to work with you this last year. It really, really has. But, and I look forward to coming out there next month and hopefully duplicating the same success we had last time.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Well, Neal, we're running short on time here, but I want to leave the audience or these listeners with one thing. If you could send one message to another agent about Annuity Fundamentals, what would that be?
If you're in a situation like I was, that you have Medicare experience but no annuity experience, the financial rewards potential is there. I've already seen that. I cannot duplicate that with other things that I'm doing right now. The class is tremendous. If you're in a similar situation, you want to learn and have someone to help you learn and help you put it into practice, this is the place to be, in my opinion. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Neal, for joining us. It was a pleasure having you. It was a pleasure having you in class, and I really enjoyed that you had a buy-in. And that's a lot of the difference between agents who make it and those who don't. You get out what you put in. And Ryan's right. I remember getting emails from you saying, "Hey, Kylie, can you send me this? You were a sponge." And that's what it takes. If you want to change your business, you have to leave that ego at the door and say, you know what? I don't know everything yet. And so I appreciate you coming in and talking with us today and for your time. And so thank you so much, Neal, for joining us. And thank you for joining us, audience. And my name's Kylie Malott. This is Annuity Fundamentals, and we will see you next time.